theatre, film, TV and more. Suzy Wrong reviews it all on Joy Drive.
Good afternoon, Suzy Wrong.
Oh, Warren, I've been having dental issues.
Oh, no. Are you all right?
I'm all right, but my dentist says that I've been grinding my teeth too hard at night.
Oh.
So I'm grinding my teeth off, and he's putting the filling in, and then a couple of years later I'm going back because I'm grinding the filling.
Oh, so you just keep grinding it. Do you know what? I had a similar issue where I was grinding my teeth, and I've just got my dentist made a little protection thing, a mouth guard thing that I wear at night, and it took me a little while to get used to it, but now I wear it. I can just grind that away. You should get one of those.
So it's not incredibly uncomfortable?
No, not at all. It's really good. It's great. It's not
all right.
Very intrusive, but a lot cheaper than having to have your teeth fixed.
I'd explore that because I was going to ask you if finding love is going to help me grind less at night because my dentist says that it's to do with stress levels. So I'm wondering if you're a person who has a lot of love in their life, does that mean that you don't grind your teeth at night? That's how I'm bringing it to the topic.
Suzy, you and I thought you were just asking the Joy Drive family for a bit of advice on teeth grinding. You and I are very similar in many ways. Maybe that's why we do it. Maybe that's why, because we don't have love in our life. Get the violin out.
No, I have a lot of love in my life, just maybe not this kind of love that we're talking about today.
I agree with you. I know mine is. I work too hard. I know a lot of people work hard, but I'm one of those people that are addicted, and I work long hours every day, and I think that's where mine comes from. I always wake up thinking about work. So yes, I agree. Lots of love around, but maybe not the love that we're seeing in Rainbow.
They'll stop you from grinding your teeth.
No, not. Well, we'll try it one day. Maybe we can have a follow-up. Suzy, what did you think of Rainbow RISHTA? Give us your review.
There are 6 stories of finding love, accepting love, and celebrating love in Rainbow RISHTA, streaming on Amazon Prime Video. We take a trip to India, where there are no longer laws against people living LGBTQIA+ lives, but where social acceptance is still a serious problem for queer people who suffer prejudice at virtually every turn. Things are changing, however, which is why we see in the docuseries members of our international rainbow family not just coming out, but also daring to be loved. We see trans and non-binary people, gays and lesbians at various stages of their queer lives trying to make meaningful connections. Some are in established relationships trying to take things further, and others are single, actively searching for love. Rainbow RISHTA is beautifully produced, fascinating and amusing, but also highly authentic and deeply meaningful. There are elements of reality TV in the show. We see some degree of prompting from behind the cameras, but what it delivers always feels genuine. It is expertly shot and edited, and even though Rainbow RISHTA is only comprised of 6 half-hour episodes, it always feels guided by a lot of wisdom. Nothing is allowed to be left superficial or pointlessly performative. Everything that we see leads to truthful revelations, and even though India has many cultural specificities, I believe that audiences everywhere will find resonances throughout the story. The 6 stories are diverse. The producers have made quite the effort to be inclusive, and I found myself identifying with all of them. These are anecdotes about our challenges, about queer people overcoming obstacles. They show us at our most vulnerable and at our most triumphant. I have said time and again on our Tuesday chats that I'm not one for romance, so I approached Rainbow RISHTA with quite a bit of trepidation, but what I found were stories about love in the most real ways, with no delusions and with no fantasies. Only queer humans defying the odds and trying to make the best out of difficult situations. I cannot recommend this enough. Warren, isn't this so incredibly well made?
Oh, absolutely, Suzy. I don't think I've seen a documentary series that really, and I think you summed it up really well, really captures the authenticity and the vulnerability of what it's like being part of the LGBTIQ plus community and being in a relationship, and a lot of the trauma that can come with that potentially, and the difficulties. I have never seen it captured or encapsulated in one whole documentary series like I have with Rainbow RISHTA. I've got to admit, I started watching it like you did, thinking, I don't know if I'm going to be really into this, but I was captivated by the end of it. I was involved in their stories. The fighting that you see is real. They're typical fights that can happen in a relationship. Not edited, not stage played like some, commercial TV dating show or anything like that. They're real, and you can see what's behind it, what's driving it. You can really see what's going on in these people's lives. There's some traumatic stories going on there, Suzy. I was shocked, particularly I think in the second last episode, by, and I don't want to spoil it, but by the couple that are getting married and what one of them had gone through. It's amazing. I loved it. I really did. I loved that there are two gay guys in it as well, and facing the and I've been in the situation, where you're in a relationship and your partner's family, because they've got issues with their son's sexuality, don't like you and give you the cold shoulder and act as though, you can be at a dinner table and you don't exist. It's a horrible place to be. And I hated it when I was in that. I couldn't stand it. I felt like, I didn't exist. I was just nothing in their minds. But it wasn't me that they were directing at. It was just they couldn't accept their son. But you see that happening. You see, people being nervous to go to a party for the first time, not in drag, because they're vulnerable and they're going to be themselves. And what's it like? What's it like feeling undesirable if you're not covered in something? I loved it, Suzy. I thought it was really great.
It's so incredibly raw. What the producers have been able to get the cast to reveal about themselves. I mean, God knows how they did it, but they put themselves in such vulnerable positions, in front of the cameras, and which is so different. Like, we are so used to watching these kind of so-called documentary or reality shows about dating, and they're so incredibly fabricated. And they are such big businesses now, with the success of shows like Maths and The Bachelor. They are so incredibly polished and fabricated. They are nothing like real life. So going into it, I had forgotten how I really want to see people navigate these sort of stories. And until it started, and I thought, it is so completely not what I had expected. I thought it must be some kind of version of The Bachelor or Maths again, but it's not like that at all. It's gone back to what documentaries are supposed to be. But I did say that there are a little bit of like, situations where it looks a little bit staged, when they kind of make people meet people. I feel like those things, might not have been quite as natural if they had gone entirely documentary. So there are elements of that. But otherwise, even in situations where they're put in dates, they're showing their true selves. It is like you won't even question if those situations are true. And what comes out of this level of authenticity is it's like it gives the viewer, in my case, myself, an understanding of where I am in my life. At 51 years old, my relationship with the idea of partnership and love, because you go on with your life and you make decisions or you make changes to your life to make adjustments because you're a resilient person. And then decades go on and you forget how you've become, in my case, a really independent person. And when I'm watching this, I'm thinking, oh yeah, that's right. Because if you open yourself up to all these encounters and possibilities, the way you can get disappointed, the way you can get damaged and hurt, it is so intense, when you add it up all together. And this show, it's not all darkness in this show. In fact, it's very light. Like a lot of it is very, very hopeful and very beautiful. But the bits that showed the challenges, the difficulties, and the trauma. And in this case, the trauma is real and very serious. And it just kind of gives me a bit of a quick psychotherapy lesson, kind of go, oh yeah, that's why you think of the world this way. Oh yeah, that's why you think about romance that way. I found it very helpful, actually.
I had the same sort of feeling watching it. And I think there's that whole thing of, and it was refreshing to see, yes, there were challenges in these relationships, but they didn't sort of just walk away from them, go, right, I'm done, you know. I mean, there were some instances of that, but for the majority, they worked through them and there were understanding partners. And I think it's, you know, it's easy to avoid a relationship because, you know, you're scared of, I suppose, having that mirror held up on your behaviour and what you can do in a relationship. I know I've had mirrors held up against me. Sometimes I've thought, oh my goodness, that's appalling behaviour that I've done. And, you know, I've learnt to reflect on that and from it. But in this series, in this documentary series, we see it. We see it happening between two people, and it's fascinating to watch. And it's real, it's authentic, and I think that it would be a good documentary series to watch for anyone who's perhaps, you know, I don't know, is a bit homophobic or has some sort of bias, or you know, maybe does say little slurs here and there, because you watch it and you think, wow, these people are amazing. What they go through, they're absolutely amazing, you know. And trigger warning, and
also the degree of damage that
exactly
people can inflict. Yeah,
exactly.
Like you don't. Sometimes it's just like a passing comment or something. But what you see in this documentary is the depth at which we I guess it's cumulative as well, isn't it? Like how it affects us, and then the degree to which we absorb all these things and how they manifest in our daily lives.
We were just chatting to Ryan Storr earlier from Swinburne University of Technology about, you know, why queer people avoid sports, and Ryan was saying that, you know, it only takes one incident and that person is off sport for life because it's so traumatic for them. So I think it would be great to see, for people to watch this. I just think it's, you could not watch it and not think, oh my goodness, I need to back off because these people have been through a lot and I can see it now. I think it was really good. And I was just going to say a trigger warning, and there is support available at joy.org.au/support. You know, there was someone, and it's a lovely story, there was a sexual assault was involved several times, and just seeing how it, I suppose, manifested in this particular person and how this person overcame it. And, you know, I like to give a little quote that I see in these shows that we talk about, Suzy, and there was one that really, really stuck with me, and it was from this particular girl, and she was saying that she's received so much hatred and it's easy to want to give it back, but she said after everything, she still has love for everyone and everyone that she comes across in life. And the partner said, you know, you can't remove the scars of the past. And I thought, wow, what an amazing woman to be able to say something like that. You know, in queer relationships, Suzy, we all need role models. We need help. We, you know, we've got dreams as kids, and then I suppose the bigotry, you know, the discrimination, the hatred, all that sort of stuff comes in and stops us from reaching our full potential. And you can see that play out in this show. Rainbow RISHTA, I loved it. I reckon everyone should see it.
It was such a great surprise for me. I think because of sometimes shows are marketed in ways that might be a little bit too light. You know, they want to lure you in with something that's easy to watch, or they think is commercial. But I found that this completely surprised me, the depth at which it was able to capture our lives. You know, from a very diverse group of people, you know, who are extremely articulate, like, you know, the way that they've been able to get these people, and some of them don't seem very educated at all, you know, and then there's also the trans woman who's a doctor who's extremely educated, and you know, she can talk, you know, she can talk over everyone. So we do hear a lot of sort of first person sort of confessionals that are so valuable. But also when some people, and a lot of how these things manifest in our lives is like we don't really know what's happening to us, but the way the camera works, how it's edited, and how the way the camera works, it's almost like a commentary without a narrator that shows you, oh, this is what happens to a person. You know, like when one of the gay guys almost breaks down at the date, you know, and we're just watching it thinking, wow, that's the degree at which our PTSD can manifest when we are trying to heal ourselves. Cannot recommend this enough. Honestly, it's called Rainbow RISHTA and it's on Amazon Prime Video.
Now, Suzy, normally I ask you what's next week, and I am going to ask you what our homework is next week, and then you say goodbye. But before you do, and before we ask you what the homework is, you've asked me to play a particular track, and I want to know why.
I was looking at. I was thinking, let's look for someone who's an Indian musician and play out this segment. So I found out, to my surprise, that this great popular music star at the moment, her name is Charlie XCX. I know her as an English musician. It turns out that she's got a parent from India, so she's an Indian English musician, and I love her and I love her music, so we'll be playing out with that one.
Fantastic. Suzy, what are we watching next week?
Juice is streaming on SBS On Demand about a young gay man's chaotic and often hilarious attempts to find his place in the world while dealing with his eccentric and overbearing family. That's Juice on SBS for when I see you next Tuesday.
Thank you, Suzy Wrong.